All right, well, good afternoon. Welcome to your senior design class. I was told you would come if you didn't know who was speaking, right? Surprise, right? So my name's Gary DeBoer, and I teach in chemistry here. But your faculty engineering invited me to talk about a topic to you today, right? So, when I was about your age, a little bit older perhaps, I had my first real job as a chemist. And I worked for this company called Gentex Corporation, still in business. And they made lots of things. One of the things they made was rear view mirrors for automobiles that automatically dimmed when cars came up behind you with their lights on. Yes? And the automatic dimming part was based on some chemistry, right? Which is, the chemistry is in there. And we had a patent on this stuff. Okay? And the patent looked something like this here. And there was another automotive mirror company that started making a mirror a lot like ours. And so there was this big patent litigation about, who was infringing the patent, if our patent was good, and stuff like that. Okay? So big deal going on, lots of business on the line. Yes? And so my boss there told me to take one of our mirrors over to the attorneys who were camping out in town, right, to defend us. And so I went over there on my way home, picked the package up to the top floor, where the attorneys rented the entire floor of the hotel and stuff like this. Yes? And I get up there, and all these guys walking around in fancy suits, not just suits that you wear to church on Sunday, but like tuxedo type suits and stuff, right, with the ruffled shirts and all this kind of stuff, right? Looking all important, walking around with little wine glasses and stuff. I suspect half of them are kind of zoned. Anyway, so I think I'm gonna get out of here fast, drop off my package, and keep on my way home. Yeah, so I dropped off the package with the attorney that I was supposed to drop it off with. And I said, well, nice seeing you. See you later. I said, oh, no, stay a minute, Gary. Take a seat here. And so he sits me down in this seat, and he starts grilling me. Yeah, grilling me on all this stuff. The chemistry stuff, and the patent stuff, and all this, I'm thinking, who is this half-drunk, overdressed, rich dude, trying to grill me on this chemistry stuff, right? Anyway, and I wanted to go home after hours, and I was on salary, I wasn't getting overtime, right? So, anyway, the next day I go to work, and my boss says, well, how'd it go yesterday? I said, well, I dropped off the mirror, it was all good. He said, well, that's not what I'm asking about, how'd it go with the attorney? Oh, wow, that guy's a jerk, Yeah, that's what I thought. Well, you didn't pass. What? You passed. I dropped the mirror off. That wasn't the test. The test was when that attorney sat you down and talked about the patent and stuff. And you failed. We were going to put you up on the stand, in the trial, but now we're not. Oh. Well, that kind of put a damper on things, huh? Yeah. I didn't lose my job or anything. But still, I felt kind of bad because apparently I had failed my boss and didn't even know what the test was. And I suspect that when you guys get out there in the real world, get a job, you're going to have a similar sort of thing happen to you, right? You're all engineers. You're going to engineer new things. New things are intellectual property, and there'll probably be a patent on these things that you engineer or work for and things like that. And it would have been good for me to have a little bit of knowledge about patent law, way back then. And I think it would be good for you guys also to have a little bit of knowledge about patent law. So that's what we're going to talk about today. A little bit about patent law for scientists and engineers. Okay? And I think this is fitting with this new marketing campaign that we have going here, the Christian Polytechnic University. Yes? What does it mean to be a polytechnic university? Well, maybe it means that, we've got technology, and we got all the other stuff that goes around it. Yes? Like how to write, technical writing. Yes? All that kind of stuff. What's the history of technology? How does that fit in with the human story? And also, what's the law with respect to technology. Yes? And some of that law is with respect to intellectual property. Okay? So, our own Dr. Mason wrote this little book here where he says the congruence between who we say we are, who we actually are, and who we aspire to be within higher education is above all a matter of institutional integrity. Yes? So if we have any integrity with respect to this statement about being a polytechnic Christian university, well, we should be able to teach you guys all this stuff. Otherwise, we shouldn't say it, right? So, intellectual property, patent law is part of being a polytechnic university. So today, I hope that we'll be able to give you some of those skills so that you can be a well-rounded polytechnic university graduate. All right. And this particular little talk comes from this initiative that I call LIC, the Laternal Ingenuity Center. Yes? There used to be this little tagline. Faith brings us together, and what? Anybody know it? Ingenuity sets us apart. Yep. And we kind of lost that, it seemed, in the last few years. So I came up with this little thing, Laternal Ingenuity Center. Renewing faith in what? Ingenuity. Yes? Because it takes a lick to what? Keep on kicking. Yeah, you guys ever watch the Timex commercials? No? Check them out sometime on YouTube. Vintage commercials. They're out there. Okay. So, what's my objectives for our little talk today? Okay. The talk is to go over the scientist and engineer's role in identifying patentable inventions based on the laws of patentability. Okay. So we're going to talk about 3 laws of patentability. 101, 102, and what? 103. They sound like horses, don't they? Yep. Patent law 101, patent law 102. Yes? Almost like that. Yes? And then we're going to talk a little bit about how you can protect your intellectual property before you patent it. And we'll talk about what we call the Laternal Invention Disclosure Form and how your senior design group can collect $200 by disclosing your invention that may be patentable. Okay. So we talk about intellectual property. There's 3 sorts of areas. There's patents, there's copyrights, and there's trademarks. So trademarks is something like Coca-Cola. Yes? Copyrights is what you do with a book. Yes? But patents is what you do with what? Inventions. Yeah, yeah. So most of your intellectual property is probably going to be oriented around patents. So look here. This is the life cycle. Remember Mufasa? Yeah. The circle of life. This is the circle of life with respect to technology. Okay? And where we're at in this circle is right about here. Okay? You've developed something. Now you want to evaluate it to see if it's a patentable thing from which you can get some intellectual property protection. Yes? That's what you guys need to know about. Is the stuff that you're doing patentable? Or is it just, just stuff? Okay? So, and if you find out that your stuff is patentable, okay, we can disclose it, and you guys can get $200. So the question is, how do you evaluate this patentability? And for that, there's the what laws of patentability? The 3 laws, which were what? Okay, you guys got it already. All right. So, and you guys know laws of thermodynamics. Remember those from physics class or thermal class or something? There was 3, and they added the 0 law because they thought they should just have that in there anyway, right? Okay, but there used to be 3. Okay, and then they added the 4th. All right. And if you don't like thermal, there's always Newton's laws of motions. Remember those? There's 3 of those as well. Yes? Things in motion, stay in motion, that kind of stuff. Mass times acceleration, action, reaction. All right. So you guys know 3 laws for everything. Yes? So there's also 3 laws for what? Patents. For patents, yes. Well, there's actually more, but 3 laws that are really important. And if you don't like any of this stuff, there's also the 3 laws of what? Robotics, which is really not all about robots. It's really about what? People. Yeah, this is the 3 laws of humanity. Yeah, science fiction just talks about robots, but really he's talking about what? Humanity in these Asimov books, right? Anyway, here we go. What are our laws based on here in the United States? was in the song beforehand? Constitution, that's right. So the laws that we have in this country supposedly are based on the Constitution. Okay? And patents are right there in the Constitution. Article 2, Section 8, it says, to promote the progress in useful arts by securing for limited times to authors and inventors the exclusive right to their respective writings and discoveries. This is the constitutional basis for what? Patent law. Yes? So there it is in the Constitution. Congress writes the laws that go with it. And if you want to check out what the laws are, there's this nice little page that the House of Representatives puts out with respect to all the laws in the entire country. Yes? You can page down by topic. And under Title 35, we have the laws for what? Patents. Okay? So that's where this stuff is at. Okay? And in that Title 35, there's 3 very important laws that you should be aware of. Okay? USC stands for U.S. Code, right? Under Title 35. And the laws are 101, 102, and 103. 101 is about what is a patentable subject matter. 102 is about novelty. Is this new, or has somebody done it already? And the third one, is it obvious? So 3 tests for your senior design project invention here. Yes? Mm-hmm. Is it a patentable subject matter? Is it new? Or did you copy it from someplace? Right? Yes. And is it not obvious? Right? Those are the 3 things you need to be if you want to patent your stuff. All right, so let's look at each one of these 3 laws by themselves. And this is where you guys are going to be able to participate as well. Here's the first law as it's written in the code. Whoever invents or discovers any new and useful process, machine, manufacture, yes, or composition of matter, or any new and useful improvement thereof, may obtain a patent therefore. Okay? So we're talking about processes. Here's a process in chemistry, the Haber process, right? Taking nitrogen and hydrogen, putting it together to make ammonia. Okay? That is a patentable process. Okay? You can patent it, right? And then there's the machine, right? Here's a sewing what? Machine. So things that say machine are probably patentable. Yes, a sewing machine is something that could be patentable. Okay? The next one is what? Manufacture. What's a manufacture? Well, something like a chair. It is what? Manufactured. So things that you make in a factory through manufacturing are patentable things. Right? And the last one is what?
Cars.
No, it says composition of what? Matter. What's composition of matter? Well, this is chemistry again. So 2 out of 4 areas are what? Chemistry. Yeah, chemistry rules, doesn't it? Well, I don't know, is that too loud amongst all you engineering types? All right. Anyway, I think it's cool. All right. So these are the kinds of things that are patentable under the law. Okay? So here's a question. This should be in your handout. You guys have this in your handout? Okay? So take a 30 seconds by yourself here and ask yourself, of all these guys, which ones do you think would be patentable under USC 101?
101.
Yep. So read through them and just say yes or no for each one of them.
This is human.
Now just say it for yourself now. Write it down. And talk to your neighbors and stuff. That's it, and then we'll come back together. All right, let's come together here. Okay, let's do this by hand. How many think that a mathematical formula used to find prime numbers would be patentable? Raise their hands. Okay, who thinks it's not patentable? Okay, how many of you don't even know anything? Okay, well, is it a process? You might think this is a process, right? a process for finding prime numbers? Maybe? Yeah, it's a useful improvement. If it's new and better, yeah, it could be better. Yeah, I don't know. What about shoe polish used as fish bait? Anybody for that? Anybody against it? Okay, a few people. How many don't know? Don't know? Okay. What about the human brain? Okay, well, we'll pass on that one. Newly discovered element. Could you patent that? Anybody? That? Is it a composition of matter? Yeah, it's a composition of matter. It's made of stuff, right? Should be patentable then, if it's composition of matter. Okay. What about a process of using shoe polish to make fish bait? Oh, okay, everybody likes that because it's got process in there, huh? Okay, well, sometimes it's not easy to determine what's patentable and what's not. So we have within our constitutional government this other branch besides the congressional branch that does what? Determines what the laws really mean. Yes, if you're not sure. Okay, so there's been Supreme Court decisions about what things are patentable and also about what things are not patentable. And we call these what? Judicial exceptions. Okay? So lots of things are patentable under 101 if you just read it. But the courts have said, well, you read it, but it really doesn't mean this. Okay? It says that, but it means something else. Right? So here you go. So the courts have said abstract ideas are not patentable. Okay? It says that laws of nature, like Newton's laws of motion, would not be patentable. Okay? Natural phenomena or products of nature cannot be patented. Okay? So keep those ideas in mind, yes, and ask yourselves again, can a mathematical formula to find prime numbers be patentable? Or would it fall under one of those judicial exceptions? Which exception might it be? Is it a law of nature? Maybe. Yeah. Abstract ideas, there you go. That's what it falls underneath. Any math type thing, that's abstract. Yes? Mm-hmm. You can't patent algorithms. You can't patent mathematical formulas, right? Those are all abstract ideas. All right? Okay, what about shoe polish used as fish bait?
It's a redneck's engineering.
Ingenious, maybe, huh? Is it an improvement on fish bait? Maybe. What are you patenting here? The fish bait or the shoe polish? What does it say? It says you're patenting the shoe polish, right? Yes? So it would depend. Is it new shoe polish or is it old shoe polish? If it's old shoe polish, then you can't patent it anymore, right? Okay? But what about a process, a new process of using shoe polish to make fish bait? Yeah, because then you're patenting the what? The process, not the shoe polish, but the process of using the shoe polish. Okay? What about a newly discovered element?
Is that a product of nature?
That's a product of nature. Yep. So you can't patent that. Find a new element to put on the periodic table, you can't patent it. Sorry. Okay, so sometimes it's not easy. What about the human brain? Is that a product of nature? Yeah, probably. Okay. So let's talk about the next, the second law here. Second law is what we call the subject of novelty. Okay? This one's a little bit more difficult. They get more difficult as we go. So hopefully you're warming up as we go through here. I know it's getting warm in the room, so you should be warming up. All right. So here we go. This is how it reads, or part of it reads anyway. Person shall be entitled to a patent unless the claimed invention was patented, described in a printed publication or in public use, on sale, or otherwise available to the public before the effective filing date of the claimed invention, or the claimed invention was basically patented by somebody else. There. Yes? All right. So, that's what USC 102 says. That's the law. Right? You read the law, that's in black and white. Those are the words. All right? Okay, so here comes the test then. Okay, you guys didn't know there was a quiz today, but here it is. Okay, so here's your question. These are the situations A, B, C, and D. So now, just with respect to USC 102, assuming that this stuff is patentable under USC 101, which one of these are still okay to patent under USC 102? So take a minute by yourself, read through these. They're on your handout as well. Yes? And I'll see if you can answer the question. So you have USC 102 with you, right? And you have these scenarios, right? It could be you, right? So your stuff will be patentable under these conditions. Right? Okay. Okay, let's go through these each by themselves. Let's look at Dr. Balmer here. Invents a new welding machine, and the whole class uses it for a month. What did USC 102 say? Yeah, would that count as public use if the class is using it? Or is it still private use? Yeah, I mean, that can be a fuzzy area sometimes, right? Yeah, what it determines public, what determines private? If people come walking through there all the time because they're on tour, does that make it public? Right? Good question there, right? So, kind of questionable. All right, what was the next one? Dr. Jameson invents a new chemical process and presents it at American Chemical Society conference last month. Is that pretty public if you present it at a big conference? That's probably as public as you get, right? Yep, yep. So, does it look good for Dr. Jameson? Doesn't look good. It's out there in the public, right? So that doesn't look good for Dr. Jameson. All right. So Dr. Balmer, we're not sure if that's private or public, because it's still in the university there, kind of wishy-washy. Let's look at number C. Dr. Sasaki invents a new prosthetic and publishes it 2 years ago in the Journal of American Medical Association. Can he still patent that prosthetic? No, he published it. It's out there, right? What does it say? In USC 102. It says the chemical was described in a printed publication. Was it described in a printed publication? JAMA is a printed publication, right? So, does it look good for Dr. Sasaki? Doesn't. What about all those senior design students who are working for him? Doesn't look good for them either. Yes? Okay. So no good for Dr. Sasaki. How about Dr. Medlin invents a new welding machine and keeps it secret? But a Cedarville faculty independently comes up with the same idea and files a patent application for the same invention. Yep. What's paragraph 2 here say under A? A2. If somebody else files before you do, you're out of luck. Yes? It's not first to invent, it's first to what? File. Okay? First to invent was still yesterday. Pardon?
When was that change made?
About 2012. A long time back already. All right, so Balmer, not so sure about him, right? Yes? Jameson is out. Sasaki's out. Medlin is what? Out, according to this reading of USC 102. Paragraph A. However, when you read the law, remember to read the entire law. That's a lesson for you. Okay? Don't just read part of it. Read the what? The whole thing. Because there's USC 102, paragraph A, but there's also a paragraph what? B. So let's look at paragraph B here. So here's paragraph B. It's in smaller print here, right? Because I wanted to get A on there as well. But it says exceptions to paragraph A include disclosures made 1 year or less before the effective filing date. Oh, well maybe there's a loophole there. Yes? Right? So this means that if you disclose something, but within a year you still file for the patent, you're okay.
So Balmer might be still in.
Yeah, well, so let's go back and look at all these guys again. What about Balmer? Doesn't matter now whether it's public or private. So long as he filed within a year, he's what? Okay. What about Dr. Jameson? She's also okay, because it was just what? Last month. Okay? So as long as she files within the year of that disclosure, she's all right. What about Dr. Sasaki? He's still out because he's run out of grace. Right? We call this a 1-year grace period. After that, there's no more grace, and there's no renewal on your grace. It's just out. Okay? You know, Jesus may have a lot of grace for you, but the USPTO won't. Right? Okay. All right. What about Dr. Medlin here? He's still out because somebody else beat him. Yes? Yeah. All right, so we saved 2 of our peoples here. Maybe, 2 out of 4 we saved with the second paragraph there, paragraph B. All right, so there it is. The key thing here, if you don't take away anything else today, is this. You guys go out to a conference and present on this stuff. How long do you have before you have to patent it, or you won't be able to? 1 year. No, a year. The 9 months from that, yeah. You gotta get at it, right? You gotta file it within a year. You gotta get started a few months, right? Yeah, good man. He's thinking ahead, right? Yeah. Okay. Now, is it good to wait a year? No, it's better to do what? Patent before you disclose. Yes. But if you screwed it up already, you're all students and mess things up all the time. Okay. Go ahead and patent it afterwards. All right. Okay. So that was 101. Subject matter, yes. 102, yes, is with respect to whether it's new or old, right? So novelty means it's new, okay? So not all subject matter is new. So 102 is subject matter that's good and it's new. The third law, USC 103 here, forgot. There's this one other thing. You guys were asking about this too. When do laws change? Okay? The laws changed in 2012, 2013. It was kind of phased in. It was called the American Invents Act, yes, under the Obama administration. And so now there's the pre-AIA laws, and there's the after-AIA laws. Yes?
Why does it seem like Obama's more free or something?
Oh, maybe he made it better. In fact, most people think this is better. In fact, the ratings for the U.S. patent system have gone up since the American Invent Act. So it's been a good thing. Yes, not a bad thing. All right, so old AIA versus new AIA, right? Here's the new. This is what we just looked at for USC 102. This is the old one. Look here. Okay? The invention was known or used by others where? In this country. Does it say in this country anymore? No. So it used to be if you guys went on a mission trip to Africa, yes, found some cool new machete out there, you could come back to the States and patent it. Because it hadn't been used where? In this country. Yes? But now you can't do that anymore because it was used in public any place in the world. Right? Yes? Lots of other things also changed. It used to be first to invent. Now it's what? First to file. Which is easier to figure out? When somebody invented something or when they filed it? Yeah, it's a lot easier to figure out when somebody filed something than when they invented it. Yes? Okay. All right, so a lot of things changed in 2012 and 2013. Okay? So let's look at some examples here. Here's this guy, Al Clipperton. He works over in Global there. Yes? And he's from Minnesota. And he invented this new hockey stick. All right? And it was first used in this public game in Montreal, Canada, yesterday of last year. Okay? What's today? October 31? So October 30 of 2018 is when it was first used in public. Okay? Can Al file a U.S. patent under the AIA or the pre-AIA? Pre-AIA he could, because there would be public use not in this country, right? But under the AIA, could he? No. So now, under the current laws, for Al Clipperton, he's out of luck. Yes. But he's lucky he's no longer living in Minnesota. It's cold, right? He's now where? In Texas, where it feels cold, but it's not near as cold as it could be. Yes. So he should be happy there. All right. Okay. What if the date that was used was tomorrow's date of last year, November 1.
Still filed.
Yeah, he better file today. Yes? Mm-hmm. Do it really quick. Yep. And he could still get by because he'd have that one grace period still under the current law. All right. So you got the pre-AIA and the AIA. How many have read this book, The World is Flat? Anybody? No? This book came out, a couple people over there. Yeah, this is a classic, right? You know, it used to be that, you know, we could think we were isolated from the rest of the world. There's big oceans around us. Yes. But is the world round anymore? Is it separated by ocean? No, the world is now flattened. Everybody has equal access to everything. Yes? It doesn't take much to build a factory in India. Just copy what's in the States, plant it down there. There it is. Yes? So the world is now flat. And patent law in the United States reflects the flatness of the world. Yes? Things are now global. Things don't have to be published in English to count as a publication. They used to be. Now they can be published in any language and count as a publication. Right? Because you've got Google Translator. Everybody has access to it, it's thought, nowadays. Yes? So the world has flattened. Okay? All right. So the U.S. is now first to file. That's one of the biggest changes that's happened. Right? No longer first to invent, but first to what? File. So remember that. All right. So the last law here, USC 103. Okay, we're doing pretty good. What time you guys get out of here? 2:50 or something?
2:15.
No. Yeah, all right. You guys are smarty, huh? Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. So we're 2/3 of the way through, you think, right? Yep. Unfortunately, though, the first two laws are easy. Yep. The third one, what? The harder one. Yep. Yep. The third one has to do with whether it's obvious or not. Yes? And this is a tough question to answer. Yes? Of course, after you look at the invention, it was obvious, should have done it that way, right? But was it obvious before? That's hard to say, right? I mean, Newton's laws of motion, those are obvious. I could have come up with those, you think, right? But did you? Yeah, that's always the question. All right. Okay. All right, so this is how this reads, and you can see it's getting bigger as we go here. This big block paragraph. Basically what this is, hey, doesn't matter if you meet the conditions of 101 and you meet the conditions of 102. If it's obvious what you did, you still can't get a patent. Right? Because you're not going to give a patent for something that's obvious, because anybody could have done that.
How do you determine what's obvious?
That's the question. How do you determine what is obvious? And that's always the big debate. There are some general sort of guidelines that we can use here, the examples that they give. Okay? But what you need is something inventive. Okay? What you have to be able to say is, hey, there's this problem. There's this problem, you know, with respect to hockey sticks. Or there's this problem with respect to golf balls. Or there's this problem. Okay? And people have been working on it for a long time. And these are the best solutions that have been offered. And they still fall short. Yes? The reason they fall short is because nobody's been able to overcome this problem. Right? If you can build sort of a case for this problem existing and people having worked on it and not been able to overcome it, yes? And then you can say, hey, but through my stable genius, right, I have been able to overcome this problem by inventing this gizmo that does this. Then, you know, you can say that you are not obvious because otherwise somebody else would have done it, so to speak. Yes? All right, so let's take a look at some examples of obviousness, okay, and see if we can come to some idea here. All right, so here's a couple examples here. And these are kind of tricky, okay? So let's look at them. All right, so we got Dr. Dittenberg. I hope I spelled his name right, did I? Okay, good. All right, so Dr. Dittenberg invents this, or he says he invents this new thing, but we got to determine he invented it. It's obvious, right? This thing where he puts this heating thing on the back of this asphalt dispensing machine so that it rolls nice and easy onto the road and makes it nice and flat. Before, in the old days, they'd have the asphalt go down and they'd have some other heater thing come over top of it. So they're two separate machines. But he bolted the heater thing onto the back of the first machine. Okay? And he wants to patent that, saying this is a new improvement on, you know, asphalt laying machines. Okay? Do you think this would be considered obvious or not obvious? Who says obvious? Okay, a couple people. Who says it's not obvious? Who don't know? Who's not even here? Okay, if you're not here, keep your hands down. Oh, everybody's not here, huh? Okay, it's like Simon Says, you fell for it. All right, now. U.S. Patent and Trade Office says, no, this is obvious. All he did was bolt one thing onto the frame of something else. Anybody could have done that, right? There's nothing new or inventive here, right? You just connected two things on the same chassis, right? Not an invention. Sorry, Dr. Dittenberg, that was obvious. You can't patent it. All right? Okay. All right, so too bad for Dr. Dittenberg. Okay, go send him a sympathy card or something like that. Dr. Hathaway, okay? Dr. Hathaway comes up with some new drug, right? He thinks is going to cure some problem. And he puts two of these coatings on the drug tablet, okay? And the drug and the coatings are well known in the art, and other drugs have used these coatings, okay? So do you think Dr. Hathaway's is going to be obvious or not? Who says obvious? Okay? Who says not obvious? Who says, I don't know, given the information given? Yeah, you're smart, okay? Because here's the idea, okay? You could say, well, they knew all these different components, right? And people had put these components together previously. But now, Dr. Hathaway is going to say he's clever. Yes, he's going to say, previously these coatings were put on drugs so that the drugs wouldn't be digested before they got to the place they had to go. Okay? There's a big name for that, right? You put the coating on the drug so it gets into your system further before it starts getting digested. Okay? And that was the purpose of the coating, right? What Dr. Hathaway discovered was that those old coatings, okay, actually reacted with the drug. So that before the drug actually got into the system, it had been deteriorated by the coating itself. Yes? That was supposed to keep it from getting digested, right? So Dr. Hathaway used two different coatings, each of them known, but he used them in a different way. One, to prevent the drug from being absorbed into the system too quickly, and the second, to protect the drug from the first coating. Yes? And the USPTO decided, hey, that's actually a new use for something that is old, right? That's innovative, that's inventive. So, Dr. Hathaway, that's not obvious, you're going to get a pattern. Even though those things were already known. They weren't known to be used in the same way. Right? Are you with me? So it matters how the things are used, even if they're already known. Okay? Because if you think about it, everything you invent, everything you put together is made of stuff that's known. Screws, bolts, washers, all that stuff that you're building is made out of stuff that's already known, right? You're just putting it together in a what? A new way. Yes?
So why couldn't you make that same argument about A?
Because it would be obvious to bolt these things together. It's easy. Anybody could have done that. It would come to anybody's mind, they would say. Yes? What wouldn't come to anybody's mind is what Dr. Hathaway was doing there.
What if he didn't just bolt them together, but he actually built them together?
Then you got to make the argument. You have to make the argument that it's not possible to bolt these things together in the same chassis. And you have to give a reason why. And then you have to say, what did I do to make it possible? That's new and inventive. Then you can overcome that obviousness rejection.
At which
right?
point you would probably try to patent the chassis because it's now a new invention.
Yeah, you might change, and through that process, quite often what is claimed in the invention changes as you go through the process. So that's a good point. All right, but this gives you some idea of the questions that you should be asking as you go through the patent process. All right, so there we go. Now, here are some general sort of guidelines with respect to obviousness that the Supreme Court has put out over the years that can help you, because this is really the hard question, because it's kind of subjective, and you've got to make arguments one way or the other, whether something is obvious or not. Okay? So the Supreme Court says, okay, determine the scope and content of the prior art. What's already out there? What's already known? Yes? All right. Determine the difference between the claimed invention and the prior art. So what's the difference between, you know, Dr. Dittenberg's thing and what's already out there? Yes? And then ask yourself, what's the level of the ordinary skill in the pertinent art? The ordinary asphalt road layer person, would he be smart enough to bolt this thing onto the chassis? Yes? Right?
No, it was, why didn't it happen so far?
Well, I mean, you can always say that, right? Yes, but that argument doesn't go very far, right? Yes? So that's what you have to ask. What's the normal level of somebody skilled in this art? So you guys who are working in history probably going to be a bachelor degree engineer, right? Yes? So there you go. Now, there are some other considerations that you can make here, okay? These are what they call secondary considerations. You can talk about unexpected results. You know, if they say it's obvious to put these things together, you can say, hey, I put these things together, but I didn't get the result that would be expected. People in the ordinary skill in the art would have thought I would have got this if I put A and B together, but I got something very different than what was expected. Yes? And then you can claim that that makes it unique and novel and not obvious. Or you can try to claim this long-felt need, right? That there's been this long-felt need to have a single unit asphalt layer rather than a 2-unit asphalt layer, right? And you're gonna have to say, why is that a big need, right? Why have people been trying hard to do that? And you have to show evidence that people have felt this is a big need and have been trying to overcome that need, right? Review articles are good evidence of those sorts of things. Yes?
Also, for commercial success, wouldn't that require you disclose it before you try to patent?
Well, you got the year, remember, right? So you got the year, so you could be market testing this thing, right, and selling it, right, and still patent it within a year. And if your sales are humongous compared to your competition, you could say, hey, my sales are so much better than the competition because my thing is so much better than the competition.
That's a really short time to try and make this
Yeah,
success.
that is, and that one's hardly ever used. Yes? Probably the more difficult one to show. Because you have all these other variables in there. Maybe you marketed better than the other people did, right? Yes, is your invention really better than theirs? Or do you just have a better market share than they do? All right. So, 3 laws. Is it patentable subject material? Is it already known, sold, or in use? And is it obvious? Those are the questions to ask. So, if you don't like just text, you can put these into a flow diagram or something like that and put these this way. Is it a useful process, machine, manufacture, or composition of matter? If yes, then you go on to the second question. Has it been patented, published, used in public, or on sale? Okay. If no, or within a year, you can go on and ask the third question. Is it obvious? And if the answer there is no, then you can go ahead and try to patent that invention. Okay? And here at LeTourneau, right, if you fill out an invention disclosure form, right, your group, your senior design project team, right, your professor, whoever you're working under, will get $200 for this invention disclosure. Okay? We want you guys to disclose your inventions so we can determine whether they can be patentable. Okay? So how many people on a team? That depends on how big your team is, but still, $200 as a team is something. Go play putt-putt or something. Yes?
Does that mean that LeTourneau have the rights?
If you're doing it under a contract or as part of a class assignment, yes. Okay? Now, if you're just sitting in your dormitory on the weekend, come up with something that's yours. But you don't have to go to LeTourneau. But if you want to, you could. Now, if you go through LeTourneau, LeTourneau will pay the cost of patenting your invention. But if you do it on your own, you're going to have to pay those own costs yourself. And if you go through LeTourneau, they'll give you 50% of the profit after all the costs are paid, right? Which is a pretty generous division on the return. Yes?
So what if you came up with it on your own, but you used LeTourneau's equipment?
It depends on the equipment. If it's just general use type equipment, like maybe a computer in one of the computer rooms, no big deal.
Right, but like,
But
let's
if
say
it's some
we
specialized equipment that your professor built for a specific grant project, then you're probably covered under that grant project and whatever the contract is there. Yes? So general sort of stuff, you're probably okay. Specialized stuff, it probably belongs either to the contract with that grant or to the university if the university bought that specific thing for a specific project. Yes? If you have questions about that, come and talk to me. We can work through those things. Yes? All right. So keep these things in mind as you go through your design project work here. Okay? All right. So here we go. Now, here's the process for your invention disclosure. So as you wrap up your senior design project here, and you decide you have something that's patentable based on the 3 laws of patentability, as best you can figure out, at least, here's what you do. Okay? Set up a time with me, and I can help talk you through these things so you don't waste your time on the invention disclosure, right? If it's not a patentable thing. Okay? If you think you got it, fill out invention disclosure. Your faculty members will all have the current version of this. There's a new version out. Don't use the old one. And once you've got it completed, send it to Paul Boggs, and copy me on it if you could. And Paul Boggs will send out a check to who's ever responsible there for $200. Okay? All right. And then what we'll be doing is we'll be giving these invention disclosures to the business peoples and the marketing peoples, right? And they'll build a little portfolio about what's the market value of this sort of thing, what's the market for this new golf ball in the United States. Well, these billions of dollars of golf balls are sold in the United States, and this might capture that much of the market, so therefore sales might equal so many millions of dollars, right? And we're going to bring the entire university in on this discussion. We're going to be a polytechnic university. Yes? Mm-hmm. Because it's not just the engineers that do these things. It's also the business people, the marketing people, right? The legal people, right? Okay? The ecological people, biology, they may want to have an input on these things. Yes?
When was the last time this was done?
Never. This is the first time we're doing this. Okay? This is the first time we're doing this Laterno Ingenuity Center thing. Ever. How many patents did R.G. Laterno have? A lot. It depends how you count them, right? But several hundred, close to, right? A couple hundred for sure. Some people count the ones that people assign to him that weren't in his name, right? That's his. Okay? But a bunch. How many patents has Laterno University, as a university, had since R.G. Laterno? Anybody know?
3.
2. 2. Only 2. And one wasn't even from a Laterno for faculty. He was a friend of a Laterno guy. And we patented through Laterno. Yes? So that really means there's only been one in, 60, 70 years? And we call ourselves a what? A polytechnic university? I think there's some integrity problem there. Yes? Like Steve Mason says. Hey, we call ourselves a polytechnic university, we better, do it. Right? Otherwise it's false advertisement. Okay. So, talk to your professor in your design project area and say, hey, maybe this is patentable stuff. Can we fill out an invention disclosure form? And he'll probably give it to you, and you can work on that. And if you have questions, come and talk to me. All right. So, what's going on? Oh, here it is. Next week, November 7th, so a week from today, Greg Parker is going to come. He's a patent attorney, and he's going to be here from 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Okay? And if you and your design project team want to run something by him, right, this is the time for a free consult, so to speak, right? And it'd be really helpful if you got your invention disclosure form filled out, okay? So we can send it to him before he comes, so you can have an idea what you're doing, right? Okay? So here he is. This is the guy who wrote up Yanni Adani's microwave welding patent, right? He knows Laterno people. He's been here before. Okay? Got lots of connections. A Christian guy, right? Good friend of Laterno. He's coming out of his own expense to be over here, a lot of it. And so take the opportunity to meet up with this guy and talk to him about your particular project. Okay? If you want to, make sure you email me so I can set up a time for you so everybody doesn't come at the same time. Okay? And we'll work something out for you. All right. Now, here's another thing. Uncle Sam wants you. When I was a young man and saw these attorneys up in this penthouse suite of the hotel there, right, walking around in their fancy clothes and drinking their wine that I couldn't pronounce and stuff like that. Yes? Mm-hmm. I thought, well, these are not my kind of people. Right? You know, I'm the scientist, I'm the chemist. Who knows what these attorneys were? They were probably, you know, poli-sci majors or history majors, right? What's the pre-law path here at LeTourneau? I think it's like a history degree or something, yes? But realize, and I didn't realize at the time, but realize if you want to practice patent law in the United States, to sit the patent bar exam, you need to have a degree in the sciences or engineering. Okay? So, where are we going to get patent attorneys and patent agents from? Us. You got it. They're not going to come from the history department. You can get any old lawyer from the history department. Yes? Right? But you can't get a patent lawyer from the history department. Okay? So if we're going to be a polytechnic university, in every nation, every workplace, remember that logo? Send that to you, right, by email or something? Yes? If we're going to be in every workplace, including law, okay, there's a polytechnic component to the law. Yes? Okay. So, you are interested in law, but you also like science and engineering. Maybe patent law is the place for you. Yes? And you know, we've had science majors go on to law school here. Yes? And you can get into law school as a scientist and engineer a lot easier than history majors. They see a B average for an engineer. That's equal to an A average for a history major. And really, it is. They know the difference. Law schools know the difference. Okay? Right? So, don't think that, hey, you know, I don't have the GPA for law school. If you've got a science or engineering degree, you can probably still get into law school, right? And, you know, specialize in IP law, right? That's especially if you're electrical engineers, big field open for you there, okay? So, Uncle Sam wants you, okay? Only scientists and engineers can practice patent law, okay? All right, so where will patent agents and patent attorneys come from? From LeTourneau. And what's the difference between a patent agent and a patent attorney? Anybody know?
Agent sounds cool.
Agent sounds cool, like secret agent?
One defends a patent, one helps the agent.
Kind of, sort of, in a way. Yeah. So, an attorney is somebody who's gone to law school, who's passed the law bar exam, right, to be a regular attorney. Yes? If you're also a patent attorney, it means you also passed the USPTO patent bar exam. Yes? So not any attorney can be a patent attorney. You also have to pass the patent bar exam. Now, a patent agent is someone who didn't go to law school, but they passed the patent bar exam. So basically, a patent agent is someone who is licensed to practice law with respect to patenting with the USPTO. But a patent agent could go defend you in court if you drove over the neighbor kid or something, right? I should say stupid stuff like that. All right, sorry. Messed that whole thing up. Yeah, it's a nice presentation. I messed it up at the end by, that probably happened to somebody in here, and now I've totally mortified them or something. All right, okay. So, that's the difference, okay? So you can be a patent agent and practice patent law without having gone to law school. It's all based on your merits of having passed the patent bar exam. All right. So me, myself, I'm the patent agent. Yes? Right? I passed the patent bar exam. So I do this patent law stuff on the side. All right. Now, here you are. Every workplace, every nation. That's where we're going to get patent attorneys from. Yes? That's you. And I mean it. Lawyers, even my dad used to just say, we don't call them lawyers, we call them liars. I mean, if you think about society and think, who are the most hated material people out there? You think politicians and who? Lawyers. Yes? Hey. And where are we going to get ethical lawyers of Christian character from? From LeTourneau. And where are those ethical lawyers of Christian character who can practice patent law going to come from? LeTourneau. Yeah. If you guys have not considered this as a career option, you should think about it, really. It's a really good place to go. All right. All right. Now, you've got some opportunities here at LeTourneau that you don't have at almost any other school. Okay? You have an opportunity to take a class in patent law that most of your engineering colleagues would have no chance to take. Because you are where? Here at LeTourneau. And who do you have here at LeTourneau? Me! You got me! That's what you got, right? I know it's a curse, it's a blessing, but, you know, look on the good side, right? Okay, so I'm teaching this spring, this course in what? Patent law. For who? For scientists and engineers, because that's only what people are for, right? Okay. And this is the course that I should have had when I was that bachelor degree chemist, right? Working in industry, and I got sucked into this whole patent thing. Man, if I had known this, I wouldn't have messed it up when I went to talk to that patent attorney. Yes? I wouldn't have disappointed my boss. Okay? I'd buy myself a job in there in industry. Right? Well, yeah, that. Anyway, make a good story if I had. All right, so this is also what? Civic engagement credits. You guys all need what? Civic engagement credits. I know you can go, well, I'm going to go clip out. I'm going to go to Kilgore and clip out a history class and transfer that into a... Yeah, I know what you guys do. Right? But, you know, in the long run, is that 3 hours of clipping out going to help you? That'll help you 3 hours, right? But think about a civic engagement that actually engages your major. Right? You want a civic engagement class that engages your major, that's going to give you something that's going to give you an up when you go apply for jobs. Right? Go apply for Garmin jobs or something like that, or Boeing, and you can say you know a little bit about patent law, and that's going to give you an up on other people who also come from other engineering schools who don't know anything about patent law. All right. Okay. Now, okay, one more thing before we go, and I'll still let you out early. Okay? I'm going to be presenting on this topic and other topics on November 14th. And I need some help. Okay? Because I'm going to be presenting in a little more theatrical sort of way. And I'm looking for some actors to help me act out some of the scenes involved in these things. Okay? So, now the reason there's a whole bunch of white women in here, right? You don't think I'm racist. There's the reason behind it. Okay? All right. So if you're interested in helping me out on November 14th, right? Send me an email, and we can get you organized here and become part of this little acting story to help us relate the good news of patent law to all students in all nations, in all workplaces. Okay. All right. Any questions from any of you before I dismiss you early? Yes?
Why do they need to be white men?
Well, this is it. And I don't want to give away the whole story. But the science seminar is based on my experience in the Air Force Research Lab. Okay? And that's all I can tell you, because otherwise it would give away the story at the end. Okay? So there is reason here. And it's kind of interesting. What's the ratio here at LeTourneau? We talk about the ratio all the time. What is it? Like 3 to 1. Okay? And we say that's terrible, right? What I found in defense laboratories, like the Air Force Research Laboratories, is the ratio is even worse. And that's a concern, right? You know, when I went to grad school, I was in a minority, the white guy, okay? There was lots of Chinese people, international students that came in, a lot of Indian students that came in, there was a big group from Pakistan that came in, right? Yes? So, the white man, as a scientist in grad school, you're going to be a minority, right? Because a lot of international students come to the U.S. for graduate studies, if not for their undergraduate, right? Not for their graduate studies. True. Now, you go from that sort of situation to these defense labs, right? And to work at a defense lab, you need this thing called citizenship. right? They're not gonna hire a Chinese national, right? So who can they pull their people from? U.S. citizens, okay? Right? So there goes all your Indian students, there goes all your Chinese students, right? They may have their masters, their PhD, but they don't have the citizenship, so they can't work for these defense companies, right? Yes? And among U.S. born nationals, right? Most of the scientists and engineers come from what demographic group? White men. Yes, white men are overrepresented in the U.S. Okay? Less white women, less African American women, less Hispanic women, right? It's all what? White men. So if that's the pool you got to draw from, what's the population going to look like in a defense lab? It's going to look like what? White men. And I think this is a real problem. Okay? So what can we do at LeTourneau to address this problem? That's the question. Yes. Think about it, all right? Okay? So we'll have to come back to that in a couple of weeks. When we come back here on November 14th, the same room at 11 o'clock. Now, if you want to be part of this, come and talk to me. If you want to do an invention disclosure, come and talk to me. Right? If you want $200, what? Come and talk to me. All right. What's it take to be an engineer class? Hard work! Hard work! Right.